To begin, let's first define what depth of field is. It is the range or area in front of the camera that is in focus. You can have a large depth of field or a small depth of field, also known as wide and narrow or deep and shallow. Next, there are three factors that affect whether our depth of field is small or large or somewhere in the middle. And those factors are aperture, focal length, and the distance between the camera and the subject. Aperture. A low f-stop, meaning a larger opening, gives us more light, which results in a smaller depth of field. A high f-stop means a smaller opening, which lets in less light and gives us a larger depth of field. Focal length. For focal length, it's the opposite of aperture. A low number, which gives us a wider shot, also gives us a larger depth of field, whereas a high focal length creates a tighter shot and gives us less depth of field. The smaller the distance is between the subject and the camera results in less depth of field, and a bigger distance provides more depth of field. As we can see in this example, when we focus on the truck, which is further away, the trees in the midground and the deep background also come into focus. Whereas when we focus on these twigs, which are closer to the camera, everything else beyond that loses focus. When the subject is close to the camera, as we adjust the focus ring to focus on the subject, we see that less is in focus. And if we adjust the focus on a subject further from the camera, we see that the depth of field gets bigger and more of the frame comes into focus. Using distance to affect depth of field can also be applied between the subject and the background. A perfect example of this is headshots for actors. When the actor is close up against the wall is relatively in focus. But if the actor takes a few steps away from the wall and we adjust the focus, the background becomes blurry. The added bonus of this is that it makes the actor stand out and directs the audience's focus to them. So when composing a shot and deciding what should be in focus and what shouldn't, it is the combination of these three factors that will decide where the depth of field lands and whether it's small or large or somewhere in between. Something else to be aware of is the size of the camera's sensor. A larger sensor will have a shallower depth of field overall, and a smaller or a cropped sensor will have a larger depth of field. For more depth of field, we choose a higher aperture, a lower focal length, or we increase the distance between the camera and the subject. And for less depth of field, it's the exact opposite. We can choose a lower aperture, a higher focal length, or we can decrease the distance between the camera and the subject.